So starting to get settled into our body, finding the position that we want to be in for our practice together. Hello, anyone who's joining on YouTube. This is a live event. We'll be getting started just momentarily. Anyone who's watching later, this is recorded live. Okay, so there's a link to the video and to the channel where I host it. So getting started in just a moment. Okay. Welcome everyone to Metta Mondays, which will be a live group meditation practice where we will be taking a look at Metta, or loving kindness, loving friendliness practice. So we'll start today with a reading, and then we'll go into the practice of Metta. But first of all, we can close our eyes for just a moment. Can find that position of our bodies that's stable, still. And beginning our group practice together by breathing in deeply through the nose. Really feeling the breath coming in through the nose, down through the throat, into the lungs. And releasing. We can take 3 or 4 deep breaths at our own pace in this way. There's often lots of things, lots of experiences going on in our lives. Lots of experiences, feelings in the body. So acknowledging all of that, acknowledging the body, acknowledging the mind, and really allowing ourselves the opportunity to dive into this practice, this exploration. We may notice pain, we may be a little bit uncomfortable, we may have a busy schedule, but just for these few minutes when we're coming together to give ourselves the opportunity to look at these teachings and to bring a little friendliness into our lives, into our bodies. One or two more deep breaths at our own pace. Settling into this space together. Okay, so welcome everyone. We're going to begin with this reading, which is chapter 4 of Loving Kindness in Plain English, a really in-depth teaching book from a Buddhist perspective on the cultivation of friendliness, the cultivation of loving kindness, the value of it, and really the appreciation of it. In a modern world, we can kind of get into a mindset or a way of being where we understand compassion, we understand kindness, generosity, patience. We have a loose connection to the importance of it. But the practice of metta meditation, the practice of loving kindness, is really cultivating this deep valuation, this deep appreciation of how valuable kindness, compassion, forgiveness can be in every moment of our lives, in every relationship, in every thought, in every experience. So we'll start with chapter 4, Practicing Peace. Practicing loving friendliness is a gentle way to attain happiness and to be peace. Visualize the world of loving friendliness you aspire to be a part of. See its contours within and without. Bear it in mind as you cultivate loving friendliness while reciting something like the Metta Sutta, which is a traditional Buddhist text on loving kindness from the Buddha. And we will recite that at the end of our session today. So bear it in mind, this world, this possibility of loving kindness, as you cultivate loving friendliness. While reciting the Metta Sutta, when being honest and friendly in daily life. When you are honest, you trust others because you trust yourself. Trusting yourself means you know yourself, including aspects you might be ashamed of. And this requires honestly looking at yourself and aspiring to live from loving friendliness. So those aspects of ourselves that we're ashamed of, that we're fearful of, that we feel guilty about, we should look honestly and sincerely at those parts of ourselves and be willing to be kind and to be friendly to those experiences, to those parts of ourselves. So trusting yourself means you know yourself, including aspects you might be ashamed of. And this requires honestly looking at yourself and aspiring to live from loving friendliness. It begins with this aspiration. It begins with being willing to explore, to try. It may seem paradoxical, but knowing your own vulnerability, unreliability, and weakness gives a sense of security, and that makes your mind peaceful. So knowing and embracing those difficult aspects of our mind, of our past, of how we see ourselves. So it may seem paradoxical, but knowing sincerely your own vulnerability, unreliability, and weakness gives a sense of security, and that makes your mind peaceful. Don't stop trying to act in ways the wise ones would approve, but take into account your strengths and weaknesses as you do so. So we all have a general understanding of what's wise and what's not, what's skillful and what's not, what's helpful and what's not. So act in ways that we know are skillful. And we're always learning, moment by moment. We're able to become more wise or to reach out to people who have a broader experience of peace and to check in with them about, is this helpful? Is this skillful? What do you think? So through that, we can have an understanding of wisdom in ourselves and in the world. So act in ways that accord with our understanding of wisdom, but also take into account your strengths and weaknesses as you do so. Others cannot give you peace. Tell the truth, and so be free. We all have difficulties and need to support one another. When we practice loving friendliness in a transparent way, we can attain the highest peace. This is not like a negotiated peace between countries. It is a spiritual peace in our own heart. Metta can be an integral part of a happy life. Metta brings harmony to ourselves and society. It cannot be separated from life or practiced only in seclusion. So we practice metta, we practice loving kindness through our life, as our life. We begin to be peace, to embody loving kindness. And we can't do so in isolation because we're always in interconnection. We're always in relationship, even when we're alone. We're in relationship with our past, our future, those relationships that we've experienced, the environment that we're in, all those beings that are seen and unseen, maybe little tiny bugs or little tiny organisms. So embodying peace. Metta meditation, this energy of loving kindness, of loving friendliness. Metta is not an esoteric practice. There is no secret to it. The qualities of loving friendliness are always within us, hidden in our subconscious mind under layers of greed, hatred, and delusion. We need to clear away the brush to give the flowers a chance to grow. Most flowers grow in soft, fertile soil, not in dry, stone-like land. Loving friendliness is such fertile soil in our lives. Loving friendliness is ultimately natural, a part of our being. Children are relaxed and make friends easily. Adults can be so stiff. You can be friendly without being naive. Try initiating a conversation by saying good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to a stranger. Really be honest in this simple expression. Really care. That's using loving speech, being able to use loving speech, allowing that to not be foreign to us. We can get into a place in our minds and in our lives where speaking lovingly, speaking gently is foreign. Dealing with situations in a patient, in a gentle, kind way becomes foreign. So we can look to children as an inspiration. Loving friendliness is ultimately natural. It's a part of our being. It's a part of how the world, how the body functions. Children are relaxed and make friends easily. Adults can be so stiff. You can be friendly without being naive. Try initiating a conversation by saying good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to a stranger. Really be honest in this simple expression. Really care. Be willing to take a chance on loving friendliness, regardless of how others might react. So being kind without expectation, being kind, being gentle, without any kind of objective, any thought of recognition or expectation of recognition, just being kind, really sincerely, really caring. So be willing to take a chance on loving friendliness, regardless of how others might react. Metta practitioners can speak first and even smile. We can learn to smile. We can naturally bring up this energy of loving kindness, of loving friendliness when we work on it, when we cultivate it, when we begin to make it a part of our lives, something we focus on, something that enriches us, something that we identify as beneficial and skillful. When anger arises, when greed arises, when stiffness arises, we can remember the skillfulness, the helpfulness, the wondrous quality of being kind, being gentle, the validity of it. So Metta practitioners can speak first and even smile. It is important to be sincere in your Metta practice. Notice your mind as you say, "May I be well, happy, and peaceful." Notice your mind as you say, "May my parents, teachers, relatives, friends, unknown persons, hostile persons, and all beings be well, happy, and peaceful." So one of the things when we really practice metta, when we practice metta meditation, is that we're finding out our own sincerity. We're bringing it up. We're finding what that feels like, what the experience of that is like when we say these words such as, "May I be well, happy, and peaceful." Or when you tell others good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, if you are living from your heart, if you explore the world and yourself with candor, which is the quality of being open and honest. So if you are living from your heart, if you explore the world and yourself with openness and honesty, even if the other person doesn't respond, you will still feel peace and wish them well. I remember watching the CBS Evening News when I was in Washington, D.C. Dan Rather showed a clip of an old man standing in front of his house by the Washington Beltway, waving to people who were driving to work in the morning. "Good morning. Have a good day." In the evening, he would say, "Good evening. Have a safe drive home." Dan Rather asked him, "Sir, why do you do this?" No one can see or hear you. Aren't you wasting your time? He said, No, Mr. Rather. I know they can't see me or hear me. I just wish them a good morning, a good evening, and a safe drive. I do it from my heart. I mean what I say. Several years later, the old man passed away, and Dan Rather announced it on the news. This man did what he did with a pure heart, without expecting reward or recognition. He didn't even care if people saw or heard him doing it. The depth of his metta touched my heart. So we have that capacity to act in the same way with our metta. We can bring up the same level of sincerity. We actually have access, regardless of our past or how other people feel about us or how we feel about ourselves. We have access to this pure heart, this loving, kind, and generous heart. We all have access to it. Practicing metta is a way to care for our own wounds. If others respond negatively, they might be going through something. We don't know. When we feel hostility or anger, it's a thorn in our own heart. We can remove it by practicing loving friendliness, sharing our love. Doing so expresses the uprightness of a disciple of the Buddha. The Buddha here as a teacher, very compassionate, very wise, embodied wisdom. Doesn't need to be anything spiritual or magical. We should be upright, aware, attentive. We should be upright, not uptight. We can learn to love ourselves, both our gifts and our demons, without hesitation. Don't hesitate to love yourself. Don't hesitate to remember that you deserve or that you should or that you can love yourself, even in difficult situations, even in conflicts, even when you make a mistake. Love yourself, your gifts, and your demons without hesitation. Don't think you don't deserve love. If you don't love yourself, who will? Caring for yourself in this way is not selfishness. Take care of your body and mind without abusing yourself with alcohol, harmful drugs, careless eating, mindless behavior, smoking, and not getting enough rest. Be friendly with yourself before you try to share friendliness with others. Telling lies, for example, hurts you more than it hurts others. Killing, stealing, and sensual misconduct hurt you. If you love yourself, avoid harmful actions. This is the straight path to liberation, built by honesty, focus, and wisdom. Liberation as the entryway into peace, really embodying peace in our lives. So this path, this way of loving kindness, is the straight path, the direct path to liberation, to awakening, to enlightenment, whatever you like to call it. Built by honesty, focus, and wisdom. Freedom from fear is not denial. Freedom from anger is not suppression. Metta directs us to follow the Buddha's direct path, which is the path of truth. No one else can know what is in our heart, how metta pervades our body and our mind. Saturate every cell of your being with metta, and it will naturally radiate forth. You can't pretend. This practice must be done honestly, and always begin with yourself. Tell yourself honestly, As I want to have a healthy mind and a healthy body, I must understand how anger arises. I must be friends with myself and experience peace. Through destructive habits of mind and body, I have suffered in the past. Unhealthy habits harm me. I need to see them clearly and practice metta towards myself. Then follow the truth that metta practice reveals. If you are bossy, pushy, or crude, expressing resentments through your thoughts, words, and deeds, you distance yourself from others. A metta practitioner can be gentle, a gentleman or a lady. Don't be arrogant. Act humbly, without conceit. If someone points out your mistakes, don't criticize them back saying, mind your own business. Do you know how many offenses you've committed? If we think highly of ourselves and look down on others, metta practice will be difficult. Metta equalizes us all. We're all equal on life's journey. We each have our own karma, our own cause and effect, kind of the situation that we find ourselves in because of many, many causal connections, cause and effect. So we each have our own situation, our own lives. Instead, think, I have enough suffering to make me humble. There is no basis for pride or arrogance. We're all in the same boat, after all. Practice metta for the benefit of all beings. Be humble and pay attention to others. There is nothing to lose. Your meditation room is not a battlefield. You are just trying to find peace and live in harmony. There is no basis for conceit, no basis for struggle. We are all subject to illness, old age, and death. We must leave everything behind. Even if we exercise, eat well, meditate, and take good care of our body, we'll still die one day and leave our health and wealth behind. Our karma, our situation, our life as it is now, is our only true possession. If we live and die with metta, our mind will be at peace. So let's take just a few moments to let that sink in. Just breathing and being with this feeling that we're having, whatever it is. Keeping metta in mind. Feeling metta in our bodies. Really pinning this experience, pinning this wisdom to the whiteboard of our lives. Recognizing the value of this loving friendliness. Making a vow, if we will, to remember metta, to remember loving kindness in our lives, especially in those difficult moments. So now we may consider that we do want to bring metta into our lives. We would like to do this practice. So what does that look like? What's one way that we can work on metta directly? We can use our words and we can use our affirmations to connect with and to cultivate these qualities of metta in our mind. And we'll now do so together. So listening and repeating after me as we begin to practice sending metta to ourselves. And it would be the same way if you're practicing on your own independently. So repeating after me. May I be peaceful. Breathing, feeling metta in the body and the mind. Repeating these affirmations. Aligning ourselves with these words. May I be peaceful. May I be peaceful. May I be free from anger. May I be free from anger. May I be free from anger. May I be loving and peaceful. May I be loving and peaceful. May I be loving and peaceful. May I be free from fear. May I be free from fear. May I be free from fear. May I be gentle. May I be gentle. May I be gentle. May I be forgiving. May I be forgiving. May I be forgiving. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to me. May no difficulties come to me. May no problems come to me. May I always meet with success. May I also have patience, courage, and understanding to deal with and overcome inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in life. Allowing this energy of loving kindness, this metta, to pervade every cell of our bodies, to pervade every thought, every mental feeling, every aspect of ourselves. And at this moment, sincerely increasing our valuation of metta, of being kind, of being friendly. deeply recognizing our own capacity to practice and train ourselves in metta. And now for those who feel that they have established metta, they really feel comfortable with metta towards themselves, we can bring to mind someone we love, someone we care about. It may be a group of people such as friends or parents. For those who feel very comfortable with their loving kindness, can bring to mind a loved one. For those who are still working on that metta for themselves, keep focusing on yourself, repeating after me these phrases, either to a loved one or saying to ourselves, may you be well, happy, and peaceful. With our inner or outer voice, we can say this to ourselves. May you be well, happy, and peaceful. May you be well, happy, and peaceful. Embracing our body, embracing this moment, repeating after me. May you be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you always meet with success. May you also have patience, courage, and understanding to deal with and overcome inevitable difficulties, problems, and failures in life. And finally, as we allow ourselves to be in this space of metta, to feel the way that we feel at this moment, to be overcome with loving kindness. We can either keep our eyes closed or gently open them, feeling that metta spread out into our environment. And we'll close our session with this reading from a traditional Buddhist text on love. Listening from the heart listening from the body. The discourse on love. He or she who wants to attain peace should practice being upright, humble, and capable of using loving speech. They will know how to live simply and happily, with senses calmed, without being covetous or carried away by the emotions of the majority. Let them not do anything that will be disapproved of by their own wisdom. May everyone be happy and safe, and may all hearts be filled with joy. May all beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, invisible or visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one, out of anger or ill will, wish anyone any harm. Just as a mother loves and protects her only child at the risk of her own life, cultivate boundless love to offer to all living beings in the entire cosmos, within and without. Let our boundless love pervade the whole universe, above, below, and across. Cultivate boundless love to offer to all living beings and all aspects of ourselves in the entire cosmos. Let our boundless love pervade the whole universe. Our love will know no obstacles. Our heart will be absolutely free from hatred and enmity. Whether standing or walking, sitting or lying, as long as we are awake, we should maintain this mindfulness of love in our own heart. This is the noblest way of living, free from wrong views, greed, and sensual desires, living in beauty and realizing perfect understanding. Those who practice boundless love will certainly transcend all suffering. Etana sacha vajana soti te hotu sabada. By the firm determination of these truths, may you ever be well. Thank you, everyone, for attending. That's the end of our live group Metta meditation practice. I hope that it brought some peace, some compassion and gentleness into your life. Please be really mindful to be gentle with yourself as you transition into whatever else it is that you have going on today. Moving into that gently and with this quality of kindness and compassion. We have these sessions every day, so I wholeheartedly invite you to join us in the future. And this marks the end of our session. Thank you, everyone, for joining.